As we celebrate all these talented athletes, let us also celebrate the women who have inspired us through our life with their passion and dedication. Harmilan, I'd like to go over to you first. You know, society has a box that they put in female athletes. And when you don't, give that perception, they might judge you for it. How are you breaking those barriers?
Well, thank you first of all for having me here. And first of all, I'm really very lucky that I belong to sports family, and that helps me to break that barriers. But in some cases, even that type of challenges we face in our family. I still remember when I missed Olympics with 4 seconds last time, and next year we were having Asian Games. Luckily, it got postponed because of COVID. And sometimes I'm thinking it's just for me. Because after I missed Olympics, my dad told me, after your Asian game, you have to marry. So that was very big challenge for me. I was not ready for it. I was first they wanted me to be an athlete, and now I started. And suddenly they said, just 1 year you have? And after my new national record, I had an injury that was quite serious and very hard to detect. And of course, the Asian Game year was ahead, and I was having only 1 year. Luckily, the COVID came for me, not for you all. That time I got operated, get fit. And the good thing is, when I made the national record, I asked some media people, can you ask me when you will get married? In front of my dad. They asked the same thing. So I said, not before 30. And my dad, I was looking at my dad, yes, dad. He said, yes. So for breaking those barriers, you need your family to support you. The very first thing, because if your family is with you, you're always strong. And after that, my dad understands me a lot. And my mother, my dad, I'm quite, they're supporting me now in every term. So I'm quite lucky with that.
Talking about dads, Esha Singh, I think I met her father during the Asian Games, and he was more nervous than Esha because Esha was clearly calm. And he has been a huge support, Esha. Talk to us about your, how your father has inspired you. And the other thing that I wanted to ask is, during Asian Games, in the finals, there were 2 breaks. Just before the break, you had actually slipped to the 4th place. And then there was almost a 10 minutes break because of equipment malfunction, and there was system malfunction. And you came back, won the silver. What was going on in your mind? Again, your father was shouting, stay calm, stay focused. How did you stay focused?
Okay, so the first question that you asked about my dad, how he has influenced me in sports. So my dad is a national rally champion. So all my childhood, it's going and watching his races, and I would see. So we have an entire ground floor filled with his trophies. So we still have it, and basically that's how my childhood was. And as I was growing, when I was 6-7 years old, he was constantly pushing me in some or the other sports. So every summer holiday, I would join another sport. And I think I continued tennis for a few years, badminton, and I hated that sun in the summer. I hated the endurance I had to go through because I'm not at all a person who likes endurance. But I was okay, if he makes it happy, I don't know what is the point of all this, but let me just get through it. So I hated getting, as a girl, I don't like getting tanned and all. So like that, one other summer, I think when I was 9 years old, we have a Gachibowli range in the outskirts of Hyderabad. It's in University of Hyderabad. And so my dad's friend, one of my favorite uncles, he's a shotgun shooter. I didn't know that back then. He used to do it as a hobby. So he asked my dad on a call in the morning. And it's very unusual to see my dad wake up and get ready that early in the morning. So because of my school schedule, I automatically got up, luckily, that Sunday. Usually Sundays is I sleep off. But I got up and I got very curious where my dad is going. He's like, I'm going to meet Gautam uncle, and he's my favorite uncle. I was like, I'm going to come along now. So that's how I saw shooting for the first time. And he's like, it's an indoor game also. When I heard that indoor word, I was like, I'll do this because there's like AC and all. And I couldn't lift shotgun because it's very heavy for a 9-year-old. I mean, I almost fell back. So I tried everything. That's how I picked up pistol. So I did ask my dad why you were pushing me into sports, because so his reason was he always feels that sportsmen throughout their whole life, they carry a sort of discipline. And that helps them not only in sports but throughout life, you know. You see life in a very different point of view. You know what discipline does to your life and how self-discipline really shapes you all throughout life. So that is my dad's role in my life. And yeah, throughout my whole journey, he's been my biggest motivator. He believes in me when I don't even think I can do it. He says, no, you have to play this because I know you are in your peak. Because when I don't even feel like I'm in a peak. But he believes in me in certain moments where, you know, I'm very low, but he knows I can do it. And about Asian Games now coming to it. And yeah, there were 2 breaks in 25 meters. There was a very unfortunate malfunction. Usually it never happens, and that too at that kind of a platform. But yeah, it happened, and I think usually like in sports, when you have that kind of a long break, you break your rhythm in your brain. Like when you're in a flow, it breaks it. I wasn't in flow that time, as you said, I was very low, like 4th rank. So during that break, my dad, so I'm from Hyderabad, so he would say certain lines in Telugu which nobody would understand in the audience. In China, no way. So only I would understand it. So he would say, you know, like, keep your mind in place, you know, focus, think about what you're doing. So I could very faintly hear it, but I could understand what he's saying. That helped, and also I feel when I've given that time, I know exactly what to think, I know exactly what I'm doing wrong. So for me, those breaks were a huge advantage. And I started to think what I'm doing wrong, and I instantly got it. And because it was such a long break, so in 25 meters, our weapon is very heavy, right? For like one arm, lifting it, it's too much. So when I was given that break, one, I got a nice recovery for my arm, I got a good rest. And second, I was mentally reset. So I really nicely reset my mind. I was like, okay, whatever happens, I'm going to give my best. Now I know what is going wrong. And I was right, and by God's grace, it was all fine.
That's incredible. And Anush, I'd like to come to you next. I'd like you to talk about your mother, Preeti, who's here in the audience right now. But I've seen her at every event. She's had your back no matter what. Talk us about how she's inspired you and backed you throughout your career.
First of all, thank you for having me. It's absolute a pleasure to be here. So I've been lucky to be graced by a wonderful woman in my life. My Dadi is here, my aunt is here, my Nani is here, my Masi is here. So they've supported me all the way. And especially my mom, she introduced me to the sport. When I shifted to Germany, it was not an easy transition at 17 years old. Shifting to a new country, I did not know anybody. I was absolutely at not a good level at the sport, and it was just a lot, and everything like together was a lot for me to take in that moment. And she believed in me. She told me to keep going, keep pushing, keep working hard. You know, even balancing my studies along with everything else. And she's been there for me all throughout. She's there for most of my shows in Germany. She's always there, and you know, it's coming from India, the German weather is quite challenging throughout the year, and you know, stuff like that does not matter to her. What's important for her is that, you know, to support me in whatever little way she can. So yeah, thank you for that, and thank you, Mom.